So if you're like most homeschool moms that I know, summer has officially started. You've wrapped up last year, you're kind of taking a break, maybe taking a vacation, but you know in the back of your head, you're already starting to plan and prep for next school year. If you're new here, I'm Rian, a Christ-following wife and a homeschool mom to 3 boys. Here we talk all things homeschool, and we will learn together how to use our roles as wife, mom, teacher, and homemaker in order to glorify God. This video is part of a collaboration hosted by my girl Wendy over at Plan, Prep, Pray. She is all things homeschool and planning and prepping and praying. But she helps you get a plan together, helps you organize your life, and she has been a huge blessing to me, so make sure you go check her out. Also check out the playlist down below where you will see a bunch of other mamas coming together and sharing how they schedule their homeschool year, whether it be day by day or whether it be an entire year. So our family year-round homeschools, but even within that, there are so many different ways you can go about doing that. So here's how I personally make my game plan each year. So, a disclaimer before I start, it is important always to know what your state requires as far as homeschooling and how many days you have to go or how many hours you have to do or if any of that even matters. So for my state, it's a pretty laid back state, but we do not have to do the 180 days, but we do have a set number of hours we have to get in a year, but you can do that however you want. But a school year consists of July 1st to June 30th. So whatever you do between those 2 dates that is considered school goes toward those hours. But how you set it up is completely up to you. So if your state is a lot different than that, this method may not work for you, but I think some version of it could. So what I do at the beginning of the year is I take out my calendar and I look at that big giant year at a glance calendar. And then I go through and I find those weeks or those days that I know for sure we're going to want to take off. So I always take off a minimum of 2 weeks at Christmas time. I think last year we may have actually taken off like a full week for Thanksgiving and then 2 or 3 weeks for Christmas. That just kind of varies year by year depending on what else we have going on. But I like to take a big fat Christmas break, a Thanksgiving break, and then I add in any of those dates that I know we have a vacation coming up, or I know we have a family reunion, or whatever the case may be. I take those weeks and I for sure mark those out. So this year, this is gonna look a lot different than previous years. So we are moving next month. So we are obviously gonna take a chunk of time off of school for that. We have a baby coming in the fall, so obviously I'm gonna need some time off there. And I have taken a couple of vacations and I have a couple more coming up. I say vacations, they're not all like big luxurious vacations. Some of them are just a few days away. But we just have some trips coming here and there that I also have to account for. Then after all of those are put in, I use like a highlighter or a pen or something and mark those all up. And then I kind of see what do we have left. And I know for us, it typically takes about 32 to 36 weeks to get through all of our curriculum if we're working diligently. And so I go ahead and put those in. I have an estimated start date, usually late July is kind of where we like to start. And then we go and I just start marking 1 week, 2 week, 3 week, 4 week, until we get to that 36. Now, not all of our curriculum actually takes 36 weeks. A couple of them do, but I like to make it a full 36 weeks. That way we can, even that curriculum that only takes like 32 weeks, some of our curriculum only takes 28 weeks, we can kind of space them out and not cram as much into a certain day. Now, as I'm going through and numbering those weeks, if I see that there's a chunk of time where we're going more than like 6 or 7 weeks without taking a break for one reason or another, I usually throw in a break there just because I know that's kind of the point where we get kind of burnout. If we do more than 6 or 7 weeks in a row of school without a break, we start to get a little whiny around here. We start to get a little grumbly. And so if I see in my calendar that the breaks that I had to put in for special occasions or whatever are still leaving big chunks of school time, I might add in, even if it's just like a half a week, where we just have a few days to rest and recharge. And then after all of that is done, I look and see what is left. Now, typically it's going to be more than the 36 weeks that I like to have. And so I just, after I number all those weeks out, once we get to 36, whatever is left is our summer. Now, summers, what I used to do in the past was we had our 36 weeks of school and then we had summer. But because I liked the idea of year-round homeschool, summer was really summer school. It was just a little bit lighter load, a little more fun. But what I found the past couple years is that even with that, Mama was getting burnt out. So we were still doing like a learning loop. We were doing reading time. We were doing read alouds. We were doing science experiments. We were doing all this fun stuff, which is great. But Mama needed more of a break than that. So since we have that 36 weeks instead of 32 weeks, our days are a little bit lighter. We don't have to cram as much into a day. And then our summer looks more like reading and experiences. And so we spend a lot of time outside in the summer. We spend a lot of time hiking and exploring nature. We spend a lot of time swimming. We spend time going to different places that we might not typically go throughout the year. We visit a lot of family. We go on fishing trips. So it's all stuff that's learning based, but it's a lot more relaxed. The thing that I always make sure is that they keep up with their reading at least. And I've kind of started incorporating math into that as well, because that's one of the subjects that I find it's really easy to take that summer slide. So math and reading are typically part of our summer routine, math sometimes. So then I have my general plan. I have my 36 weeks with those built-in breaks for Christmas and having babies and moving and all those things. And then those occasional breaks that aren't really for anything other than, hey, if we don't throw a break in here, we're gonna be doing 10 weeks of school straight and everyone's gonna go crazy. So then after that, we have that summer laid out. But if throughout the year something comes up, let's say the flu hits our house, God forbid, or let's say, you know, we get invited to go somewhere, or family comes into town, or whatever happens, if we miss any days or a week throughout the school year, we just kind of add that on to our summer and shorten our summer a little bit. But because we've given ourselves the full 36 weeks, then those days aren't real heavy days that we have to add into our summer. It just, we go a little bit longer and the kids don't really notice. And what I found with doing summer that way, instead of, 36 weeks of hardcore school and then the rest of summertime is fun and a little more laid back, but it still takes a lot of planning and prep and mental energy from Mama. Now that I've dropped that, and now that our summer is just more of a natural learning process, I'm getting an actual break in the summer to pause, reflect on the year, to think about what I want for the next year, and to plan and to gear up for the next school year. Because those years that I was just teaching hard all summer, even though it was fun stuff, I was not ready to start back come end of July, early August. I was like, no, we're not doing this. So it makes it a lot easier to want to come back. So I guess technically you could call us hybrid year-round homeschoolers. I don't know. This year we will probably start our school year mid-July for the next school year, and then take a break when baby's born, and then go in through May. In a perfect year when there's no big life changes, I would love to start the beginning of July and be done by April, so we can take May, June off instead of June, July. But I mean, it doesn't really matter because we don't really take a full summer anyway. We take a Mama needs a break, so we're gonna do more child-led, laid-back learning summer. And another thing is, when I say start at this date, like this year, mid-July, I don't mean go full-fledged every subject. I mean slowly introduce the subjects until we have a full load by the end of July, probably. So hopefully that all made sense. I know it's kind of a long process, and it does take a couple days over the summer for me to kind of like figure out the whole schedule, but it makes it so much easier throughout the year just to kind of know when to expect a break and have some sort of game plan going. So I would encourage you, if you were looking at doing anything similar, to check out what your state does require. But I've kind of seen that even in the strictest states, you have that flexibility to kind of get your days in or your hours in or whatever your state requires, kind of whenever you think fits better for your family. Sometimes we just tie ourselves to that public school model, and we want to be out the days that they're out and in the days that they're in and have the same length of summer and all this stuff. But I think there's more flexibility in homeschool than that, even in your stricter states. So let me know in the comments down below, are you a traditional homeschool year, or do you use the year-round schooling method more? On Friday, I have my monthly book review coming out where I will share what all we have been reading for the month of June. So don't forget to subscribe, be on the lookout for that. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll talk to you next time. Bye.